So it's kind of bittersweet, but I have sold my 351 Cleveland that was in my 72 GTS. And this particular engine I've had in two different Trinos, or well, first was a Ford Elite 76, which is where my internet handle came from. Bought this engine originally for $120, and then I spent, with the help of my then fiance, went and had the heads redone for hardened valves, exhaust valve seats, so that way I could run unleaded fuel, because I didn't want to worry about having, nuking the didn't want to worry about running a leaded gas in an old engine that was designed for leaded fuel. So I bought this engine from a guy. I worked at a Buick dealership at the time, and I was only there a few months until there was a whole fiasco between one of the assistant managers of the body shop at Reagan Buick in Omaha, Nebraska, and then another guy. One guy bought an air compressor, had it over the garage, couldn't get it back after their partnership kind of fell apart trying to do stuff on the side. The other guy burned the garage down in revenge, and it just turned into an utter shit show. The guy that I bought this engine from, his name was John, and I remember it. It's stupid I can remember this, but I had left some vice grips sitting out on my box and some pry bars on my side of my box. And my biggest thing was I had just bought a Snap-on creeper, Fat Boy creeper, really nice, comfortable creeper. And sure shit enough, because those two were fighting, the guy that had the assistant manager, that it was the only one that had keys to the place other than the manager of the body shop and the owners of the dealership. Yeah, they went in and stole anything off of my box that wasn't locked down. The guy I got this from, John, he had just bought a brand new $400 Snap-on air impact, and he had some pry bars and stuff like that that weren't locked up as well. And one of the guys freaking just stole our shit, stole some stuff from some other people in the shop, and a bunch of the other guys in the shop were feigning ignorance and didn't know what, just plain dumb, and the manager of the body shop wouldn't do shit about it. And I got frustrated, and I left because I didn't want to be around that bunch of toxic bullshit. And then, of course, after I left, I get a message from get a call from the boss man at the body shop asking why I left. And I said, because you wouldn't fix the situation. I mean, when somebody takes a picture of their impact and says, please just return it, I just want my tool back, it cost me $400, and somebody takes a Sharpie and writes, fuck you, thief, I'm out. I've worked in my share of shops in the past, and when I did body work for like 6-7 years for a living, right into my 20s, and yeah, I saw so much toxic shit, just so much toxic BS that nope, I noped out. And it sucked because I kind of liked working there, but it was, typical dealership, dead-end body shop job, never going to go anywhere. So anyway, so John, my brother in arms in the body shop world at the time, both of us were just young guys. This engine came out of a 71 Ford Torino, and I don't remember if it was a 2 or a 4-door, but John's story was his mom bought the car new, and the engine had like 68,000 miles on it. Now, he drove the car to high school after mom stopped driving it. She got a car with fuel injection. But she bought the car new, lived in like, I think it was Plattsmouth, Nebraska, and she drove from the house to school was 3 blocks, and then from school or the house it was another 3 blocks to the hospital where she was training to become a nurse, something like that. So the car got, every day it got like about 9 to 12 blocks worth of driving put on it during the week. It was just crazy. I mean, that's what the car saw. And he got the car in the mid 90s, and then I come across it. He asked me if I was looking for an engine, and I said, well, what do you got? And he's like, 351 Cleveland. I'm like, oh, them are good engines. And he says, well, it's not a 4-barrel, it's a 2-barrel. But I took him up on the offer. I got this engine for $120. He needed to pay bills, keep his lights on. So I took him up on the offer. And I had the engine, and then I picked up a 76 Ford Elite from a tow yard in Omaha, Nebraska for $300. And it had a roached 351 Windsor that was knocking and making noise and had no oil pressure. And, you know, the great thing is, you know, being it's the small block Ford, if you want to call it, but the Windsor bolt pattern, the small bell house, Cleveland dropped right in. Same engine mounts, bolted right up to the C4, use the flex plate and off the Windsor, and away I went. And even with 275 gears and just a C4, I put a B&M mega shifter on the floor in front of the bench seat. And it was great, except for, you know, on those 1, 2, 3 shifts. It was great because I had to be careful about I punched the dash so many times because I just mounted the shifter a little too far forward to clear the bench. But yeah, fun times with that car. I remember one time I took that car out for a little fun on the street and got next to one of my friends, and this has been probably 26, 27 years ago, but he was, I forget what he was driving. I think he was in a 5-speed Z24 Cavalier. I think that, yeah, 5-speed Z24. And I took off from a dead stop, and I, even with just the freaking highway gears in the C4 with the B&M just holding it, and he's trying to shift this V6, and I'm just, for a 4,000 plus pound mid 70s Ford Torino variant, I'm walking this Cavalier like standing still. We crested a hill, and I forgot that I didn't have the back of the hood bolted. So as I started to go over the crest of the hill, the back of the hood started coming up, and I'm like, okay. Yeah, that was a lot of fun with that car. I'll have to see if I can find pictures and I'll insert it in here somewhere. But yeah, I had that, and then I saw the ad on the old MSN Torino group, and a guy in Dana, Iowa was selling a 1972 GTS Grand Torino Sport, factory 4-speed Cobra Jet Cleveland car. Condition, he called it condition number 4. It was a number 5 because it was just fucked beyond all belief. All the glass was knocked out of it. It had some rust issues, and it wound up being just one of those things that I fell in love with the fastback. I loved the Elites, but I just decided I wanted to go for the 72 because I liked the look of the front end, and I liked the look of the way the roof just kind of slopes down, and the smooth bumpers that are tucked in the back, and the front bumper that's ornamental more than anything, because you hit something and you're screwed. It'll just fold up like any old car with those old bumpers. But yeah, I had a lot of fun, a lot of good road trips with this engine. It's still good. You know, it's crazy, but this engine, it owed me nothing. And it ran, and it ran. But I decided I wanted to put the original Cobra Jet, my numbers matching engine, back in my car. And that led me down the path of debauchery and problems and 2 engine rebuilds in a year and more money than God. The car went from being the Iron Maiden to the wallet succubus because it kept eating my freaking wallet. But hey, like I say, it's the joys of hot rodding. Oh crap! I gotta send this to the. I gotta send that to the guy. Ooh, yeah, I gotta make sure I get that to the guy that I sold the CVF belt drive to. Whoops. Oh man, fun times. But yeah. So anyways, yeah, that's my story on this engine. But this engine's gonna live on in a 77 Bronco. A guy near Springfield, Missouri is meeting up with him on Friday to have him pick up the engine, and well, I'll meet up with him and he'll load it up from there. But a lot of good times with this engine. A few frustrating times. I remember the thing that led us to pulling the heads off this engine was my buddy Brian Skinner. He and I were putting the intake on, and instead of using inch pounds, we were using foot pounds. And I'm away from the car, and I hear it was literally the last intake bolt on the back corner here, and heard it snap. And we found out that, yeah, it screwed up, and whatever parts store I called at the time, the guy looked at the wrong specs and gave us foot pounds instead of inch pounds, so we way over torqued the intake manifold. And it's amazing because it was on the literally like the last intake manifold bolt that had popped. Staggering actually when you think about it, but it's funny nonetheless. So anyways, enough romancing the stone. So yeah, that's my story with this engine, and it's gonna live on. And hopefully Zachary, the guy that is running a hot rod shop down in Springfield, hopefully I'll get some pictures and I can put in a picture or two of the Bronco that he's doing. So, but that's all I got for tonight. It's been definitely a week, and I've gone through the motions with my car in the last 2 years, going through the drivetrain again and dealing with a few issues, dealing with a lot. But again, it's the joys of hot rodding. That's what it comes down to. It's the joys of freaking hot rodding. The main thing is it still runs. It's going to help another dude run. And that's all I got for now. Thanks for watching, and hopefully you got a laugh. And that's it. Good night. It's 8 a.m. It's a beautiful morning to go for a walk with your engine. Goodbye. Goodbye, little engine. I wish you the best of luck.